What's up, lads? It is your favorite mums here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel once again. So on today's video, guys, I've got just a video to answer some questions that I've been getting a lot. So obviously, as you guys know, I live stream every day. And some common questions I get is basically hold or sell. So what cards early on in FIFA should I be holding? What cards should I be selling? All right. And then what price will, Klosterman, Rashford, Promes, all these kind of players reach? So I feel like that's been a really, really common one. With a lot of people not understanding, I guess, how high prices are going to rise or how low they're going to rise. I'm hearing a lot of people, I might sit there and say, I think Klosterman's going to hit about 15K. I'm getting people going, nah, this car's going to hit 40K, 50K. I'm hearing people say Emre Can's going to hit 50K. Promise is going to be a 25K card. And things like that, right? And I think a lot of people are really, really overestimating some cards. And now this might be because they're overestimating it. I think, a lot of these people are hearing other big streamers who are saying this card's going to hit 40K, 50K, and they're listening to them. I don't know, and they're kind of regurgitating it. But either way, I kind of just want to ease you guys' minds and kind of help you to understand, how you can have a look at certain players and how you can estimate, where their price is going to get and maybe why some of these players like Klosterman, why I don't see that card hitting the 30K, the 40K that people are talking about. Why I don't see Promise hitting that 25K and some of these ridiculous prices that people are throwing out, all right? So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today, guys. I think we're going to start off with the first question. So what price will certain players reach? And then we'll talk about, what kind of players you should be holding and selling as we get further into FIFA. So let's start over here on the desktop. Let me just make sure it's switched. All right, let me start over here on the desktop, guys. So basically, the first card I've pulled up a few FIFA21 cards, like Klosterman, Emre Can, Promes, and I want to show you guys how you can kind of estimate and why I think these players aren't going to hit the prices that people are saying. Now, quick disclaimer, I do think prices will be a little bit higher than last year. The reason for this is obviously we've got the extra rivals rankings. By moving up rankings, you get a certain amount of money. I think you get like 10,000 coins every time you move up a ranking. So by getting those coins mixed with there being no squad fitnesses, so people don't need to spend money on squad fitnesses and things like that, that obviously is probably that money needs to go somewhere, right? So that money will probably go into the players and give a slight increase on players. But that could be like a 10% increase, a 5% increase. It's not going to be, 100, 200% increase like some people are talking about. It will be a small percentage increase, all right? So there is that. Player prices might be a little bit higher than last year when I talk about this, guys. But basically, I always talk about the best way to predict the future a lot of the time is to look into the past, all right? So when you're looking at pricing cards, obviously there is a sense of just, knowing. Someone like myself, I played this game for a long time. I've looked at a lot of cards. I've followed the market for a long time. So I can kind of just you kind of just get a feel for where a card is going to lie. But also I like to look into the past at similar cards to try and help my thinking, all right? So this is what I'm going to do with you guys and show you guys why I think. So now, Klosterman's the first example. This is a card that I said I think will hit 15K. I don't really see this card going above 15K. If he does, it won't be much above it. Well, I've seen a lot of people being like, no, that's a 35K card. That's a 40K card. Now, the reason why, one, these players don't go up straight away is his rating, okay? Cards that are like 79 rated, 78 rated, 80 rated, yes, they can go high if they're really, really, really like OP, super, demanded, etc. But they're always capped at a certain price limit just because of their rating, all right? A card like that, 80 rated, is going to get packed so many times at the start of FIFA, all right? While, something like an 85 card is a lot rarer, not going to get packed as often, which helps the price grow. As we talk about, guys, demand and supply. When demand is higher than supply, the higher demand is over supply, the higher the price goes, all right? So with a card like that, you're going to have high demand, but you're also going to have a high supply of that card. Now, why I think this card won't hit, guys. So what I used to compare this card with was a card from last year, and I used Joe Gomez, all right? Now, as we all know, Premier League has a tax, all right? Premier League cards are always more expensive than any other league, just because they're the most demanded. English players as well are usually more than any other league. So you've got a card in Joe Gomez. He's English, he's Premier League, he's Liverpool. So instantly that card would have more demand behind it and would have that Premier League, English tax to it already. So that card's already should be pretty expensive. Now, if you're looking at stats, I would say Klosterman's slightly better. But I mean, look, they've got the same work rates. They're the exact same height. Their weak foot is the same. They both got that good pace. Klosterman's got a little bit better. But look, 85 compared to 88. They're both very similar pace. They've both got that 80 plus pace. They're fast. And then even defending, 82, 77, 76, 79, right? So obviously Klosterman is slightly better. But I wouldn't say he is much better, okay? He is slightly better, not much better in stats-wise, but Gomez is better in terms of links and in terms of league, all right? Now, when we had FIFA 20, everyone was saying at the start of FIFA, like Klosterman, everyone was like, oh, Gomez is going to be a 15, 20K card. That's what like, all your casuals, everyone was saying, oh, that's a 15, 20K card. That's a 15, 20K card. I'm going to show you guys where this card peaked out at. So as you can see on the graph here on PlayStation, this card peaked out at 6.3K. Now, that is his maximum price. So another thing as well is, you shouldn't be buying these cards at their max price. Even if it's at 6.3, you should be getting that card on bid, sniping him. But really, you should be buying him before that or after that. But if you do buy him at his peak price, still, that card hit a 6.5 card point max. So that to me just tells me, like, I just couldn't see this card hitting 35. So you've got a card that is legitimately slightly better in stats, but not much. And is from a worse league and worse nation. Still a meta league and nation, but worse league and worse nation in terms of, like, demand and stuff like that. Premier League English will always be demanded more than Bundesliga German, all right? Now, if this card only hits 6.8, 6.3, I can see this card going higher. Don't get me wrong. That's why I put about a cap on. I think this card could go to like 15K, right? But I don't see this card going above 15K and definitely not to that 35K. That card is not going to be 6 times more expensive than what this card was last year, okay? I just don't see that happening. So I would put a place about 15K, right? But it's just kind of giving you guys an idea how you can kind of judge players. So you can use this as well. Try and find common players from last year, right? So players with maybe similar links, a popular nation, similar nations, things like that, similar ratings, and similar stats kind of stuff. And you can get an idea of where that card might rise to. So now another example that we grabbed was Emre Can. So I think this card's insane. And I think this card could easily get up to, 20K, maybe even hits 25K, right? 20, 25K. But once again, I mean, it could be less than that, but I'm trying to, overestimate in a sense as well. Like, I don't see that card going above 25K really. But I'm seeing people sitting there going, dude, that's a 50K card. That's a 45K card. That's a 40K card. I just don't see it hitting those heights. Now, in order to compare this card to another card, I've gone and used Delaney from last year. Now, if you're having a look at this card, exact same work rates. Delaney has better work rates. Delaney's got better work rates for like a box-to-box. But I mean, same weak foot and skills. Exact same weak foot and skills. Similar height, 6 foot compared to 6'1". You've got better pace on Delaney. You've got, I mean, shooting's not really a thing, I guess. You got better shooting on Emre Can slightly, but I mean, you're probably playing this. I guess if you're playing him as a box-to-box, it is. Passing a little bit better on Delaney. I mean, on Emre Can. So I'm saying this. Emre Can's the better card, right? I don't think there's any debating that. They got similar defending, slightly bit better physicalities on Emre Can. So this is the better card. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this isn't the better card. It is the better card. But what I'm saying is they're similar, right? They're both 82 rated. They're both from Dortmund. They've both got similar skills and weak foot. Their work rates aren't that far apart. And they're both just generally meta. Like, this was the meta card last year. If you wanted a cheap Bundesliga defender, a cheap Bundesliga box-to-box or DM, that was the card you're using. While this year, it's a similar thing. Like, that's the card you're gonna kind of go towards. You know what I mean? Now, this card was also out of pack. So I'm going to show you his peak price. The peak price is a bit of a lie because this card was out of packs. He did get a team of the week, and obviously being out of packs for a week caused his price to rise even higher. So this card hit a max of 9.5k. But as you can see on either side of it, look, like the very next day after we went back into packs. So this is out of packs. The very next day back in packs, he went down to 5.8. The day after, so 2 days after being back in packs, he was down at 3. Now, I would say this card, if he didn't go out of packs, probably would have been about a 4,000 coin card. All right? I'd say a 4,000 coin card. It was only the one day he reached that high. Even the day before, he was way lower. But look. It was day one. So this card never even went into packs. That was day one. So this card had like no supply. But yeah, that was probably about a 4,000 coin card. Now, once again, this card is a better card. So can I see that card going to 20, 25k? Which is about 4 to 5 times what Delaney would have been. Yeah, I can. But can I see that card going to 40k like a lot of people are saying, 50k? Personally, I don't see that, guys. For 50k, you can go get yourself like a better card probably. I just don't see it happening. So, I mean, like I said, that's the gut feel part of it as well. You kind of got to use the past and have a gut feel. I don't see that card happening. I just don't see that card being 10 times more expensive than what this card is. I mean, look at those stats. Look at that card. And you tell me this card is going to be 10 times more expensive. I just don't see it happening. So yeah, that's my opinion on that card. Another one I've got, guys, is the last 2 more examples. I've gone Promes. Now, once again, I said Promes will probably hit about 8, 9k. I've seen from a lot of people saying this card's going to hit like 25k, 20k. Yeah, around that price, 25, 20, 25, 30. I've even seen some people saying like 35, but that's just ridiculous. Now, what I compare him to is his card from last year. It's the same card. Same work rates, same weak foot and skills, same rating. In fact, this card is probably a little bit better. As you can see, this card's got a bit better pace on him. His dribbling's actually slightly better. Physicality is a little bit worse, I guess. Passing is a little bit... Oh, passing is pretty much the same, actually. It's basically the same card. The only difference is this card's a left wing, this card's a cam. Now, what I will actually say as well is I felt Promes actually had better links last year. You had Marlon Inform, who got an Inform like week 1 to link to that card. He had an easy link to Tagliafico, who was only an 82 rated last year. This year is like an 84 rated and is going to be more too expensive. He had Van der Beek, who he linked to. I actually think Promes had probably better, easier links last year than he does this year. But who cares about that anyways? Central cards normally are more expensive. So I can understand people saying, well, he's a central card, he's going to be more expensive. I don't disagree with that. But let's have a look at where Promes hit last year. So that was his max price right there. This card hit 4.5k as a maximum price. Okay? It's because he's on an off league, guys. Off leagues, off nations. Even if they're meta, they just don't rise anywhere as high as people think they're going to rise to. It wouldn't surprise me if EA also put a 10k cap on this card. Like, EA usually put on off-league cards like this, they'll usually put a 10k price cap on him anyways. So, you know, for that reason, that card's a good chance not even going past 10k. But yeah, this card hit 4.5k, and once again, that was at peak price. You know, the very next day after that, he was already down at, there you go, like 3.5, and then 3k, 2k. You know what I mean? They dropped very, very quickly, but he hit a max of 4.5k. So, yes, there might be a little bit of an extra cost because this is a central card. But once again, do you see that card going 4 or 5 times more just because it's central card? I mean, if you look at other cards that have moved from a left card to a central card, you don't see, and that's in an off league, you don't see them going 4 or 5 times. I could see that card max doubling. So 4.5, because that max 9k. I think that card will be under 10k. Like I said to you guys, 8, 9k. Could even be like 7. But I think around that area, 7, 8, 9 kind of area. Definitely, this card is definitely not going to like 25k like a lot of people think. I can guarantee you that. And lastly, guys, Paulinho. Now, this one's easy to compare and easy to show you why. Once again, this card will hit probably 7k, I reckon. A lot of people are saying, once again, that's a 20k card. Perfect way to explain is last year again, guys. Look, he's got a better card last year. Work rates are the same, height's the same, skill and weak foot are the same. The only difference is he's legitimately one stat less overall, and his stats are slightly worse. So he's got better stats. His 84's got slightly better stats, I would say. Actually, no, I'm going to lie. The stats actually aren't even that much better. They're pretty much the same. They're pretty much the same, actually. They're very, very similar. So I'm actually going to say they got similar stats, but he's a rating less. What a rating less normally means is he's less rare. Obviously, the higher rating they are, the rarer the card normally gets. So 83 rated. This card last year hit a max right there of 9.7k, once again, as a max. So personally, for this card, I could see that card maybe matching it. So maybe this card gets to like a 10k. But I don't see that card going over that. Over that 10k mark. Personally as well, just because of the lower rating, it'll probably be a little bit less rare. And I could see that card only hitting that 7-8 kind of mark. But I don't see that card going over 10. And if it did, maybe just over. But I don't see it going over 10. Not the 20k, the 25k that a lot of people are asking again. So, yeah, that's just a quick look for you guys, man. Have a look at that yourselves if you want to. I think people are overpricing cards a lot. Especially some of these lower tier cards. Now, some of your high rated cards are going to go high. You know, your 86 Varane, that's going to be like a 250k card. Your 85 Longley, that's going to be like a 120, 130k card when it hits a peak price. But these cards that are your 83, that are off leagues, your 83s, your 82s that are sitting in your off leagues, they never go to like really high prices. Your cards that are sitting in main leagues, but are like your 80 rateds, your 79 rateds, once again, guys, they just never hit that price. The supply is too high on them. Yes, they've got super demand. Yes, they're talked about a lot. Yes, a lot of people are going to use them, but they're also going to get packed a shitload because they're only 80 rated, okay? Which is what helps to hold their price down to a certain extent. Now, the other part I want to talk about, guys, was the whole hold and sell. What cards do I hold and sell, right? So, obviously, if you've watched other videos I've talked about, I tell you guys to sell at the start. You want to sell most things, all right? Now, when I say you want to sell most things, there are certain cards you want to hold, right? And that is the cards that are going to rise into the first weekend league. I would recommend selling most cards around the first weekend league. That is normally when most cards peak out. If you've got a really top-end card, e.g. a Varane, a Varane who's like meta, a Messi, a Neymar, a Ronaldo who's like meta. You know what I mean? If you've got those like really top tier cards, those you can hold a little bit longer, you know, or even like from last year, like an Ousmane Dembele. Sometimes maybe you can hold them an extra week or so. They will probably rise a little bit longer because really early in the game, not as many people can afford those cards. So they continue to rise a little bit into like the first few weekend leagues. But generally, you know, your 84s, your 85 rated meta cards, like your Felipe Andersons, your 83 Marcus Rashford from last year, they were super meta cards, right? Your 88 Edison, they were meta cards, but they weren't like the top echelon, right? So they rise, but then normally after the first weekend league, they start to plummet pretty hard, especially with the promos we've got, right? We've got a 3-week OTW promo or a 2.5 week. We've definitely got 2 weeks, and then we've got depends how long they do it for, half a week. And then because we've started this promo, we've started FIFA late, the Scream promo is going to come up on us so quickly. So I reckon the drop off on cards will be quick and sharp. All right, guys. So I'm going to show you this now. So this is last year. You got Felipe Anderson. As you can see, day one, these cards always start off cheapest on day one, okay? Every meta card, every card that people want to use in their team starts off cheapest on the first day because there's just not enough people on the game. It's web app day. There's not enough people with full access to the game. There's not enough people with coins to buy these players, all right? And they're going to rise every single day. They're going to rise into full release and then into the first weekend league. So first weekend league, I'm pretty sure was October the 4th, right there. So as you can see, this card peaks on Thursday, which is rewards day, which I've talked about in previous videos about rewards day and the peaks in the market. And then after that, boom, drops down into Sunday. It rises a little bit again. But then as we're getting close to Halloween promo, I'm pretty sure the Halloween Scream promo came out on the 14th of October, I think it was. As we come up to that, this card just starts plummeting down all the way back down. You see little fluctuations as weekend league sell-offs and stuff, but plummets down. You're going to see the same thing with like a Marcus Rashford, guys. Very meta card, very used card. Look, rises, starts off cheapest on day one, rises every day into the first weekend league. First weekend league is October 4th, guys. Hits a peak October 3rd, October 4th, which is with weekend league starting. This card actually drops into obviously Monday with weekend league sell-off. This card rises again back into the next weekend league. And then as we're about to get into Scream promo, boom, plummets down, all right? Now, what's different to last year is we started the game earlier. So the cards had more time to rise before the Scream promo came along and plummeted, and people had that pre-panic, that pre-Scream panic, and the market dropped, right? That's going to come up on us way quicker this year. Way quicker. So last year, normally the Scream promo starts like a week or two before, like 2 weeks before Halloween. And then the last day of the Scream promo is Halloween Day. And then obviously it finishes after October and after Halloween. Now, I don't know how big they're going to make the Scream promo, or if they're even going to do it. They've done it every year, but who knows, because it's a bit of a later thing. I would assume they will do it though. If they do it, it once again, it's going to start like 2 weeks before the Scream promo, right? So you could actually have the Scream promo starting the first weekend league. So the first weekend league, I think, is supposed to be the 16th. And you could have the Scream promo starting around that same time. So I think that first weekend league is still a good time to wait. You know, you wait till full release. You wait heading into that first weekend league as players are pricing. But I would probably be getting out a lot of these meta cards then, because I think with the Scream promo and stuff like that, I think we could see a pretty sharp drop-off. Like we see every year a sharp drop-off with the Scream promo and stuff like that. But it could just come a lot quicker this year with that happening, all right? So I would say, guys, for your Felipe Andersons, you know, your Marcus Rashfords, your Edisons, those kind of cards, I would be selling, you know, first weekend league. So they're the kind of cards you hold maybe into the first weekend. Now, the kind of cards you sell straight away are the cards that are worth 1,000 coins, 2,000 coins. Even your cards like your Paulinhos and stuff, guys, because your Paulinho on day one might be worth like 4 or 5k, and then he might go up to like 8k. But he's not going up much. There's not much use holding that card. I would rather sell that card for 5k and trade with that money. Okay, the ones that you want to hold are like your. If I want to give you guys some specific examples from FIFA 21, you know, the kind of cards I would be holding, guys, going into week ones are the ones that you think can maybe go up to like 20k plus, all right? So like a Klosterman could go up to 15k. If he's at 5k, you know, I could see you holding that card a bit longer. But, you know, you're going to be holding like all these cards, right? Your Messis, your Ronaldos, your De Bruynes, your Lewandowskis. Not so much keepers. Your Virgils, your Salahs, your Manes, your Mbappes, your Agueros, your Ramoses, you know, your Kantes, your Dybalas, your Immobiles, your Koulibalis. You want to be holding those cards, your Sanchos, your Sons, you know, your Fernandes, your Aubameyangs, your Griezmanns, Robertsons, Firminos. They're the kind of cards that are definitely going to rise a nice amount. You know, your Rashfords, your really meta cards, your Ousmane Dembélés, your cards that just are extremely meta, extremely demanded. The demand is going to keep their price going up into the weekend league, and some of them will rise a lot. An example is last year, Longley. Longley, day one was 15k, rose up to like 100k first weekend league. Rashford last year was like 20k day one, rose up. I mean, look, I've got him right here. Oh, so that's a bit of a lie. It says 40k. Okay, well, let's say 40k. And then rose up into the first weekend league up to like 90k. You actually could have gotten that card cheaper. That gives you an average. If you were on early on the web app, this card was like 20k, 30k. Yeah, rose up to like 90k. So you've got big margins on some of those cards, man. So they're the cards you hold. The cards that are like 1,000, 2,000, you sell all that stuff, okay, guys? Any card that's just like a fodder card or, you know, not really a meta usable card, but they're just selling for 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. You get rid of those cards, guys. You sell it, you make the money, you use that money to trade, all right? That money is much more valuable in your bank and trading with it, okay? So even your Promises, your Paulinos, I'd just be selling them. Even if they're at 4K and they might rise to like 9K, I'd rather just sell then rather than waiting a week for that card to rise up to 9K. Sell, use that money to trade. You're going to make that money much quicker. The cards that go from like 20, 30K and then rise up to like 90, you know, have that large margin that you want to be holding. And I'd be selling those guys though by about weekend league, all right? So here's more examples, guys, as of the thing that you see. Rises into the first weekend league. First weekend league's here. You know, he's around his peak prices there, 40K. And then boom, sharp drop off. Now you've got Ousmane Dembele, rises into the first weekend league here. So this is an example of like a really meta card that sometimes goes into the second weekend league. So that was first weekend league and he rose a little bit more into second weekend league. But once again, guys, I don't know if I'd be holding these cards even into the second weekend league, like the really meta ones, your Varans and stuff. I'm not even sure if I'd be holding them into the second weekend league just because of how quickly the promo is coming. All right, the screen promo is coming. So yeah, basically, quick review. Sell all your 1,000, 2,000 coin cards, you know, your cheaper off-league cards, stuff like that. Use that money to trade with your high-tier meta cards that we just kind of talked about. You could hold those into going into the first weekend league, guys, to get maximum money out of those cards. Then I'd be selling them off and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the video, guys. I think that was a bit of a long one, man, but there was obviously a fair bit to discuss there. I hope that answered your question, guys. They're just very common questions that I've heard on my stream. Look, if you want to ask me questions, show me your starting team, come drop into the stream today, guys. I'll be streaming every day, especially once FIFA starts. We'll be doing some long hours. You know, if you guys want to sub to the stream as well, I've got a sub Discord where anyone that's subbed in the stream, I post trading guides. I posted a new trading guide today. I think that's like 3 or 4 guides now. I'll be posting specific investments and filters and sniping filters, all that kind of stuff as well in there for you guys to help you boys out for supporting me. If not, man, though, come and ask me questions in the stream, guys. I'll be doing all this stuff live on stream. I'll be going through it all, helping you guys out, man. I want you guys to make money just as much as I want to make money. So, yeah, come in, check it out, guys. Also, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you boys in the next one. 2 days, lads. We're nearly there.